Hi guys, I hope the video in your last assignment really showed you how a circle, an ellipse, a parabola, and a hyperbola are formed by the intersection of a cone and a plane, and the way that the plane is being held, whether it's parallel or it's being tilted at an angle. So now, after you focused on equation of a circle yesterday, which was review, now we're going to go over equation of a parabola, which is review as well. So parts of a parabola that you had seen last year in Algebra 2. A parabola has a vertex, which you guys know that from many, many years. And it also has a focus, which is inside, and it has a directrix, which is outside. Notice how the focus is a point inside, and the directrix is a line outside. We always do it as a dotted line. The p-value, which we're going to talk about where that comes from when we see the equation, the p-value is how far away the focus and the directrix are. So if the p-value is 3, I would count 1, 2, 3, plot my focus, and then I would count 1, 2, 3, plot my directrix. The key part here is the focus is inside, the directrix is outside, the vertex is in between. So for example, the only other ways that we can draw a parabola, well, we know this version right here is when it's pointed up, it's concave up, it's rising both left and right. Well, we know that that can fall both left and right, which is right here in example 2. And no matter where this was on the coordinate system, the focus would be somewhere inside, and notice how it's a point, and the directrix would be somewhere outside. And this is a horizontal line. And that brings me right back over to here, which I want to talk about. I forgot to talk about when we were looking up here. If it's a directrix, it's either going to be x equals a number if it's a vertical line, or y equals a number if it's a horizontal line. So this would be y equals a number, and also in example 2, y equals equal to a number. But then for example 3, look at this, it's pointing to the left. So the vertex is here. The focus is still inside, and then the directrix is outside. And now since this is a vertical line, this is going to be x equals a number. And then the last way that you can actually have the graph is that it's pointing to the right. So remember, inside is the focus. The vertex is right here, the turning point. And outside is the directrix. Again, this is a vertical line, so this would be x equals a number. Okay, so that's just going over the parts of a parabola. So the special notes. The vertex is in between the focus and the directrix. The focus is always inside, and it's p units from the vertex. And the directrix is always outside, and it's p units from the vertex. So I will be sending you guys a PDF of this on the e-board. So if you want to print it, or if you need to refer to it when you're doing problems, you'll have it. The last thing I want to go over today in our notes is the standard form of a parabola. This form helps us graph it easily, and you'll see that when I do my second note. Now, no matter which way you're looking at it, and you guys have seen this before, notice how this equation has x squared. There's always only one side has it squared. This one has x squared, and this one has y squared. Now, it doesn't matter if this x minus h squared was on the left or the right, but the idea would be that only one has a squared. So notice how this one has the x being squared, and this one has the y being squared. Don't forget that when we looked at the equation of a circle, and let's just talk about that for a second. We're used to seeing h by the x and y by the k. And we're also used to saying that when we take the center in this case, it would be the opposite, which is a positive h, and the opposite, which is a positive k. And you're going to do that anytime you have x minus a number, or y minus a number, or x plus a number, or y plus a number. So coming back to this, if I was going to talk about my vertex for this one, it would be the opposite by the x is h, and the opposite by the y is k. Now be careful here. The vertex is still going to be the opposite by the x, but notice how it's on this side. It's the one without the squared. And then the opposite by the y is k. Now let's go back to talking about what these look like. So again, we notice that these only have one side is squared, and the side that's not squared has the 4p. And we talked about p before. P is how many units away both the focus and the directrix are. So if this is x squared, you guys know what x squared equation looks like. X squared is either going to be concave up, or it's going to be concave down. And we know that specifically because of that squared right there. And that it's with the x, which means that the only other way that the other one can be is that it's going to be either pointing left or it's going to be pointing right. And again, that's because this one has the y squared. So don't forget, if I was just going to do a quick sketch, this would be the focus directrix. If I was going to come over here, focus directrix. I'm not going to do all of them because I don't want it to be sloppy. The last thing I just want to talk to you guys about is, don't forget, P is the number of units away from the vertex that both the focus and the directrix are. So that will come in handy when we work with equations that we're going to actually have to solve for P. All right, so this is just the notes that we need in order to graph a parabola and to understand the equation and the parts of it. The first homework assignment you're going to have is really focusing on these parts that we talked about in this lesson. Please don't forget that you can always ask me questions in talking points, and I will help you in any way that I can. Thanks, guys.